This is Beyond the Books. I'm your host, Mohammed Ali Kamar, and today my co-host is.
Hello, I'm Karanveer Singh.
Today we have Ariel from Samsung, and Ariel was our Samsung Solve for Tomorrow mentor. First, an introduction of Ariel, who explain to the users who you are.
Sounds good. Well, thank you guys so much for having me.
Uh,
Hello, everyone. My name's Ariel. I work at Samsung. I was doing my placement year. I've been here since last August, and I work within the brand marketing team. It's definitely been a ride. So many fun things I got to be a part of. And as part of my placement at Samsung, I had the opportunity to be a Solve for Tomorrow mentor. So most of you might be wondering what Solve for Tomorrow is. It is our competition that we kind of host to promote young innovation. So the idea is that a lot of groups from different schools, we've got a 16 to 25 group, and of course we've got a young version as well. They all come together with an idea to improve the world, like make it a better place. And what we do is we train them and give them the tools that they need to bring that idea from just a sketch to a reality. And that's pretty much the premises of the competition. And I had the luck of having these guys as my mentees for the project. And yeah, that's really how we met. It's been incredible.
it's wonderful. Now, Ariel, I know you study at the University of Sheffield. Could you explain what degree you're studying?
Yeah, sure. I do business management and economics at Sheffield.
And now the year placement, you started last August, and I'm assuming it's 1 year, so that means it's almost about to end next month.
Yeah,
So
three
what's the
weeks
thoughts
left.
about that? A whole year and why Samsung? Did you get to choose that? Like, how does this placement year work?
Well, you apply to a lot of placements that you think you'd like to do. I mainly wanted to focus in marketing, something I'm really passionate about, and I applied to a lot of businesses. Samsung was one of the ones that stood out to me the most because of the values that they share. Of course, they're the fifth biggest brand in the world, so it's a great place to kickstart your career. And yeah, I just applied, did the tests, and I got to the assessment center, and that's when I was like, oh, this is getting serious now. And yeah, just did the assessment center and on from there.
Now I'm assuming you enjoyed your time at Samsung greatly. And students who are watching, because the whole point of this podcast is to teach you what school doesn't teach you. So if someone wants to really get to your level and actually be part of like some big company, what kind of thing would they do? Like some people might not want to do degrees because you took the degree way and then got a placement year. Is there a different way somebody could join Samsung? Like what's the options for students?
No, that's a great question, and we've got a whole range of emergent talent types that you can join at Samsung as. So, for example, as you mentioned, some people might not want to pursue a degree at university, and we do have a degree apprenticeship option. So, if you've just finished your college A levels and you're looking to join the corporate world right away, you can apply to do a degree apprenticeship. And the way in which it works is basically you'll join Samsung for 4 days a week, and then your fifth day you'll go to university and do a degree related to what you're working in. And it's really a great way to get experience while you're young and build your way up to it. Of course, like every program works differently. Of course, then you've got the placements, which Samsung is very committed to. And then finally, you've got grads, which is basically after you finished your degree at university, you apply to be a grad.
Fair enough. Now, let's go back to the corporate marketing placement at Samsung. What does your typical week look like? Because I want to see at a placement year, how much load are they giving you? Are they giving you all the work and using you as interns, or is it like more part of the team and like having an actual like effect that you see happen outside?
I'd say you get loads of responsibilities, and they definitely don't treat you as an intern, as in you'll be working on important projects, and it's like you're just part of the team. So really, it's a great training to kickstart your career in the corporate world. There's really always something to take part in and to participate in. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's like that. Like when you get in films and you're like, oh, just the intern that does all the admin work. It's not really like that. You do get to own your own projects and lead on what you want to do.
Did you always see yourself coming down this route, or did you have like a shift in what you wanted to do mid career or mid path?
That's a great question. And I think it's quite a funny one because I always told my parents I wanted to study marketing as my undergrad. And they said, like, oh, but that's too specific. Like, why don't you do something more general and then like branch out from there? I remember I was like 16 and they were like, you don't know really what you want to go into at 16. I was like, I beg to differ, but all right. And so that's why I started doing business management and economics, just to have like it's a dual. So it's like a very broad understanding of like, business management and the economic sciences. So it's like it really does prepare you for anything you want to go into, whether that's finance, supply chain, or even, like degrees that careers that are completely unrelated to the degree. But it was quite funny because I also applied for like finance placements and stuff, but it was just for the sake of applying. I wasn't really passionate about doing it, but I might as well do it. And it so just happened to be that I got the furthest and most stages for marketing roles, which I said to my parents, look, guys, this is a clear sign that this is low key what I want to do, and I'm really good at it. And clearly showing that I don't really do that well in the finance side, so why would I force it? And then yeah, after joining Samsung, I'd say that I've definitely been able to confirm my initial theory. I do enjoy it. It's something I want to keep pursuing in my professional, I guess, career and journey. And yeah, I think moving forward, I'll definitely be applying for jobs within marketing.
Certainly. I think a lot of people should actually take some advice from that, because I think I've seen it too many times. People do something that might have a influence from the outside perspective. Sometimes, most of the times, it's parents, but it could be friends, family members, relatives, someone you met at a networking event. It could be a lot of things.
Definitely.
However,
Even in London, I think it's such a like finance-based city, isn't it? I mean, it's like the heart of finance in Europe. So a lot of people think that if you don't have a finance job, you're not onto nothing. But actually, there's so many other roles
so
in
much.
London and in the UK that, I mean, even in the world that you can do. I would just not put yourself into a box, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of like exploring other options, even though people are telling you that it might not be the right route.
Certainly. Now, my friend wants to do finance, and I don't want to do finance, but he's like, oh, you should at least apply to one finance degree. But it's not like, I don't like finance, too much statistics and stuff.
No shame in that, like sometimes they make you feel like it's so bad that you don't want to do like a fintech or like dev. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't.
I don't think that people realize how a company operates. Companies is not just the finance and the management. There's so many different roles to just get something done, like marketing, editing, designing, publishing, checking. So much other stuff comes in, and sometimes some of those jobs, I think, get overlooked. Like
Yeah,
everyone
they
becomes
see
the best and the best, but
they
Definitely.
they, they only see like what most people go into, right? It kind of like limits their like vision, what else they can do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think a lot of people think as well in terms of marketing, they just think it's just advertising. And it's so much more than advertising. I mean, like every single thing that you see out there has got some sort of marketing in it. Even finance, the way finance regard it so well is because of its marketing. Like people are really good at marketing finance. And I think that, like it's not just the ads that you see on the telly or like on your phone. It's so much more than that. It's all those experiences that are carefully crafted for you as a consumer. And a lot of people might even say like, oh, it's a bit wasteful because like you're encouraging people to buy more. That's not true, actually. You're encouraging people to find the brands that fit in well with their lifestyle and with what they agree with. And that's the principle of marketing, isn't it? It's not to create more consumers. It's actually to find those consumers that already exist.
I think my personally, like, the thing I love about marketing is the stuff that you don't see. In the sense, like, you like color 3 is like the simplest one I could give. Sometimes for specific advertisements, the way the video plays out, the way anything plays out, it's so specifically designed, you don't even realize they specifically crafted it so your tension doesn't go out, or you really focus on this specific section of the ad, etc. I find that shocking because you don't realize that as a consumer, but it works unconsciously. You're seeing all those things.
A lot of work goes into it, and not just within Samsung, but like in the industry itself. A lot of the things you don't see behind a campaign is all the hard work that people have put into it. A lot of research goes into it as well to understand what people do, what they like, and I think there certainly is a beauty in it. Like being able to speak to your customers in the way we do, and just kind of understand their needs and tailor to them I think is great.
Now let's come to something sad for not the viewers, but for us.
Right.
Let's talk about a little bit about Solve for Tomorrow and our entry of it. So I think let me just start off that we applied with no expectations. Me and our
None.
team,
Zero. No expectations.
we started doing some meetings in the library. You already know this, but just for the viewers, we came up with this idea, we sent it off, and I came home, got an email that we got accepted out of like 550 applications, only 20 got accepted. I got out of my seat, called Karambe, he's out with his friend, he starts going crazy. I send a message, everybody starts going crazy, and just that joy of making it that far. Like, I personally was not that thrown off by the fact that we didn't move to the next stage, just because I was like, look how much we've learned. Like, we've
Yeah,
built stuff.
just the experience that we had in that journey, all the people that we met, especially at Samsung, Ariel, all the little at the actual institute itself, all the little people that helped us through that journey, especially the 3D printers. They let us use so many.
Like 3D printing, I never thought was like a skill. I guess I thought that yeah, that's just a service. But after using the 3D printer for weeks and weeks, the struggles, you really understand how 3D printer works. And I think that's just an experience I would have not gained if I didn't get this far. But how was the event? Because we didn't get to come to the event. I'm pretty sure you were at the event. How's the event?
Yeah, it was great actually. I was gutted when I heard the results that you guys. I was like, excuse me, that's insane. Like, what do you mean my team should make it through? I was so sure. But nevertheless, like you said, you guys should be like insanely proud of what you achieved. Like getting that far is not easy. And having all that knowledge really is very valuable. I mean, I myself think that I wish I had had some initiatives like that when I was at school, because I would have loved taking part in it, and like being able to unleash my creativity in such a productive way. So definitely very well done, guys. Like your work was amazing, and I also encourage you to continue with the idea. Like just because it wasn't this time, it doesn't mean it's not next time. Actually, one thing that I found quite nice about the event was that we had one of the finalists there, and their project hadn't won the biggest prize. Like they hadn't won any of the awards, but they continued with their idea regardless, and they chose to pursue it. And now it's like a global initiative, and they have like massive reach within, I can't remember how many countries they mentioned, but it was like a lot of them. And I remember thinking, wow, like it just because it's not this time, it doesn't mean it won't be the next. So if there's any kind of desire in you guys to continue with the project, and continue exploring and pitching it to other people, again, like as I said, and as I said during the event, like Samsung are more than happy to continue supporting you, but at the same time, like exploring other options as well. There's so many people out there willing to support young talent, people who are wanting to contribute a positive change in the world. So I definitely recommend, like going on with it.
Like I completely agree with that. Like the email that we got, because they asked if you want feedback on why we didn't accept you, you could ask. So I was eager to see where did we mess up, but just for future purposes to get the thing. And basically, their reason was that our goal wasn't clearly defined. In a sense, if it was a little bit more defined, I think because 5 people were working on one PowerPoint at the same time, some of the ideas were a little biased. In the sense, one person might have wrote something and the other person might wrote something and they contradict, right? Which is absolutely fine. It should have been one person who was writing it, but we were on a time constraint. I remember
Yeah,
it's staying after school. It was a lot of work, and that was such a team building activity. But what I realized was they gave no feedback in the sense your idea is bad. There was no problem with the idea. The only problem was that if your customer base was a little bit more specific, and I was like, okay, let's improve that. And then if we take this forward, that means the idea is fine.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we should develop it. It's just like today was our last day of school, so summer just started. So
Nice. Well done.
certainly we're gonna look into it in summer as well. I think the whole team might not be able to participate now because everybody's busy with A levels, but I certainly will, and I hope Canberra's gonna help me with that.
yeah, of course, of course.
And we'll see where it goes. Like of course I'm gonna keep you up to date on how we build it.
Next best thing, the next big thing, you never know.
You never know. That's the thing. That's one of the reasons you should just try stuff. Like you don't know what could happen and what will happen. So yeah,
You
Definitely.
won't know what will happen unless
I'm
you try.
expecting you guys to be like the next OpenAI, like I'm gonna be waiting.
I wish. I wish.
Wait, let me know when I can invest.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah. You get. Oh yeah, we'll make you the marketer. We'll
I
make you
mean,
the
every product needs some marketing, doesn't it?
So you mentioned that you were only 16 when you had interest in this path. Did you have to tailor your like lower education levels, like maybe your A levels, your GCSEs? Did you tailor those subjects to get to where you are right now?
Not necessarily, actually. I did sciences at school, which is a bit of a rogue one. Again, my parents wanted me to focus on the STEM, didn't they? And I did. I mean, I was like, okay, I'll do it. I don't mind. Physics, biology, chemistry. Like it wasn't something like if you just pay attention, you can still kind of like do it, I guess. So maybe not something that you're passionate about. But I never really saw school as somewhere where I needed to be passionate about what I was doing. I mainly saw it as like a requirement. That might be different for other people. I mean, there's some schools that also allow you to like explore a little bit more in terms of like more specific interests, whereas mine was relatively general. So I wouldn't say that maybe not in that sense, but definitely in the things I did at school. Like you always kind of take for what you're passionate about and what you want to do. So I would create these like focus groups at school, and we would do like marketing campaigns and stuff. And it had nothing to do with the academic side, but it's just something that we like to do on our spare time. And I think like kind of similar to what you guys have done. And I just say like it doesn't necessarily have to do what you do at your A level or even what you do at uni. Like people doing placement might end up doing something completely different than what they're doing in their degree. Nowadays, more than before, I'd say companies are more willing to look at a broader, I guess, pool of degrees. People used to think that you had to do like maths or engineering or finance to go into a finance role, or that you had to do business or marketing if you wanted to go into like a business, I guess, career. Whereas that's not really the case anymore. You get people from all over university degrees. Like you've got psychology, you've got economics, you've got, I don't know, even sociology. And those degrees that you wouldn't necessarily think they get like the in to those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it nowadays is more based in how well you can do in your interviews, how much interest you can show in it. And I think that's really valuable. And the fact that companies have started seeing that is also really important, because at the end of the day, we might be doing something for our day job or even like our degree or school, but that doesn't necessarily have to align with what we're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I just say if you've got an interest in something, do it, like pursue it. Like there's really nothing stopping you.
I agree. Like you're saying that your parents want you to do like a STEM subject. Now, if you see a person who's really passionate about STEM, and then we see you who's more passionate about marketing, that's your skill, and then you apply for a STEM role. The guy who's passionate about he's definitely gonna get it. So
Yeah,
it's like,
even if I had done like STEM at uni, I could be doing an engineering degree right now, but because I don't show that like interest or passion, I probably wouldn't get a job because, like they're like, well, this guy's just doing this
Yeah,
for
because
fun.
without that passion and without that drive, no matter how much work you put in, it's not going to be to your best because you don't see any interest in it. It will never be to your best.
yeah,
Exactly.
if you love something, you're gonna do it better.
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna not see it as work. You're gonna see it as enjoyment of some
Yeah,
sort.
definitely.
Yeah, you're gonna see it as working towards what you want to become. Then
Yeah, and
And don't
now
get me wrong, it's not always perfect. Like sometimes like you finish work and you're like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I'm tired. And that's normal. You're not supposed to like every single aspect of your job. Like some people don't like the admin, some people don't like the creative side a bit more. And of course, like we all have our things that we're comfortable with. But overall, if you're like relatively happy with what you're doing, I think that's where the value is. It's not like everyone like loves the job all the time. And like some people are like, oh, I really love my job. Like everyone has something that they're like, oh, like I have to do this, I have to do that. But overall, like I'm quite happy to like wake up every day and like go do my job because I know it's something I enjoy. So I would just like want to put that out there for people who are like currently doing a job and they might be like, oh, like I don't really like this bit about my job. It's like you're not supposed to love all of it. Like, in the end, like everyone likes what they like. But as long as it's something that you enjoy, and as long as there's parts of your job that you say like, you know what, I feel better by doing this, as in like I feel like I'm contributing to something I want to, I think that's really where the value is.
Now, because you've seen the academic side of things and the real world side of things, I want to ask you, what's the difference between academic success and real world success? Because I think a really good student might not be a really good person in the workforce. There might be some things, of course, there's transferable skills like time management's a big one. If you're is having success in academics, that uses time management, and you need that in real world as well. What's your thing? Because you're doing a degree and real world things.
I think that's an amazing question, and super important because you have to unlearn everything you learn at university when you start a corporate job. Like it really is. Like some people say, "Oh, my job," and I definitely think it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing a degree like medicine, obviously, like the job that you'll go into is going to be related to what you did at uni. Like you'd expect it at least. If you did like accounting and stuff, so maybe like those more science-based degrees tend to lead you to like a clearer path of what your day to day will look like. But again, I don't want to generalize because you might go into just anything there is out there. But when it comes to like your average corporate job, I'd say, like you said, time management, that's completely different. So like I'm a very structured person, and I was used to say at uni, you've got a set deadline. You're like, okay, this is my essay, I have to submit it by this date. And I was really good at saying, okay, I'll do it over these 2 weeks, I'll dedicate 2 hours to it, this is what I'm gonna do, this is how I'm gonna do it, and I just do it. And I remember like some people used to say, oh, I handed mine in late, when I had submitted mine like 3 days before. I was like, I planned this, like already knew what I was going to do. Whereas working the corporate world, some things might change from one night to the other. Literally, like one day, like sometimes I go to bed and I'm like, oh, this is what I have to do tomorrow. I'll get to the office the next morning and it's like, everything's changed. They need me to do something right now that was priority. So it's like everything you had planned for that day is kind of out the window. So you have to really learn how to be flexible with that and manage your workload in the way that you're prioritizing what needs to be prioritized while also staying on top of the deadlines. Like you just won't have one or two deadlines. Like you'll have something with everyone. Something everyone will need something from you. And you have to deliver. So really, it's a lot to juggle. But I definitely say that you do get used to it, and if you like pressure and stuff, you'll thrive under it as well because like you're pushing yourself every day to be the best version of yourself and be the most efficient and stuff. And you find your own methods as well. Like everyone finds what works for them. I found that having like an agenda with prioritization works a lot for me. So yeah, to your question, I don't think that someone who's like academically successful necessarily means that they'll be academically successful in the corporate world, and the other way around as well. Academic is very, very different. Your time is different, the things you learn are different, like the challenges are different. But I'd of course say, like, this goes without saying, that I think a university degree has also helped me a lot. Maybe not in the way that you think. Like maybe it's not like, I don't think I've ever done the SWOT analysis in the office. Like I haven't really had many, I guess, chances to do it. But it's more in the way that, like, as in like, your strengths through uni. Like uni helps you a lot with that. Case studies are very valuable to acquire that like critical thinking that you'll need. But again, in the corporate world, no one's going to be rating you and saying like, oh, you got it to one, you got a first. Like it's whether or not it worked. And that I think that's even scarier, to be fair, because if I get it to one, I'm like, oh yeah, I got it to one. Let's go to the pub. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, like things have very real consequences in the corporate world. But I also say one really important thing is networking and getting to know everyone. It doesn't matter who they are. Like you never know what situation there might be in the future. So like always speak to everyone, always be kind, like always take the time to get to know your colleagues, what they like, what they're passionate about, because I find that knowing them and knowing their interests and like overall getting on with them and caring about them really does contribute to that like overall sense of community and productivity. When you work with people that you like it really doesn't feel like a job. It just feels like you're,
Right.
having fun. And I know that sounds quite cliche, but it is true. Like good relationships lead to good work and efficiency.
I agree. Like when we were doing the projects, start was a little bit, there was a little friction because we didn't know each other. Like I built this team on based on skills, and as developers, some as designers and stuff. And when they come together, there was some awkwardness at the start. They would sit on that side of the table, him and me would sit on this side of the table. Eventually, just learning about each other's, getting to know about each other and just working together, it just branched that gap so much. And we did better work after that. At the start, it was slow. And now you seem like a very organized person. And considering you did your stuff 3 days earlier, now what advice would you give to someone who procrastinates? I know a lot of students procrastinate because it's just work, isn't it? We don't want to
Me
do it,
too.
but
I
it's like,
procrastinate all the
No
time.
one wants
Yeah.
to do it.
but how do you overcome that challenge?
I really think that's normal, and maybe it's even something that I struggle with myself. Like this is not to say like, oh, like I've completely beat procrastination. I'm super efficient, super productive, and that's not true. Like some days I'll just come home when I don't want to do anything. I've got like a pile of laundry there, just like stacking up, and I'm like, nope, don't feel like. And sometimes it'll be a week, and I'm like, "Oof, I've run out of clothes now. Like I low key have to do it."
Yeah.
And that happens as well as work. Like, and I feel like that kind of links back to what I was saying in terms of like you might not like every aspect of your job. Like, there's some things that you enjoy more than others, and that's completely normal. Like, so sometimes I'll prioritize things that I enjoy. I know I've got this like report to do, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to do this report," but then I've got this like strategic like piece of reactive content that I have to do, and I'm like, I want to do that. And that's another thing. Like at work, you always have something to do. So you get to choose what you want to do, really. Like you'll never not have something to do. But that's where prioritization comes in very handy. And I think it's very important to maybe like take a step back and just overall evaluate what you have to do and say, like, what's the long-term impact of what I need to do? So what if this report was actually needed for a meeting where big important decisions were going to be made? Or what if it was needed to provide information for a client? Like these are some examples that even though I don't want to do it, like I know how important it is. So I think my biggest cure for procrastination is starting to do it. And I know this sounds silly, but like don't think about the whole task. Just think about what's the first thing you have to do. Even if that's just like get on your laptop. Something as simple as get on your laptop, open your browser. You might not think it's big, but you're already there. And since you're already
Yeah.
that, like you've already broken, like you're not in bed anymore. You're on your laptop, you know. So you're on your browser, and then you think the next one is, oh, I've got to go on this website. Okay, get on the website. I would say definitely like break it down into bite-sized actions so that it doesn't feel like this massive task that you have to do. Just focus on what's next within your next 5 minutes, next 10 minutes. What's that to do? And the more you do, I don't even know if it's like proven, but at least for me, like I get motivated from the more I do. And you might
Yeah.
feel the same. Like, you know, like as simple examples like going to the gym, like I hate going to the gym, but I know you need to stay in shape, like you need to be healthy and stuff. I just really don't like it though. But what I do is I'll put my clothes on. I've already put my clothes on. Like I low key like I should go, right? I grab a water bottle. Okay, I've got water. I've got my gym clothes on.
You kind of
I
have
get
to
out the
go.
door.
Now
I'm
you
out
have
the door. I might
Yeah.
as well do the walk now. I walk to the gym. I'm here. Like I could go back, but like I'm already here. And then you start doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and before you know it, you've done your whole routine, and you're like, "Well, I've done it now." And you feel great, and you feel pumped, and it might give you that motivation that you were craving to do something else. Like the more you add on, the more you do. So sometimes, even like I said, I've got an agenda, and maybe if I had a really rough day and I haven't been very productive, like if I've had meetings and I haven't been able to do what I need to do, write down have a meeting on your to-do list and cross it off. You've done it. You feel
Yeah.
like you've done something. And
Yeah.
then with that feeling of accomplishment, you'll see how much easier it is to start doing more.
No, I completely agree. One of the rules I made was whenever I come back from school, after taking whatever length of a break, my goal is just to sit on my desk. Because I've seen if I sit on my desk, even if I'm watching YouTube for the start, eventually I get bored of that. I'm like, okay, let me check my Outlook. Oh, I have an email from this teacher. Oh, let me get that work done. And it ends up always with me doing the work. And I completely agree with you there. Yeah. If I'm feeling really like good and I really want to work, I tend to make sure I do the hardest thing first, just so it makes it way easier to finish your work. Like if I do the easiest thing first, sometimes what happens is I take so long on that task because I'm enjoying it so much. I make sure that's perfect, that's perfect, that's perfect. It just ends up eating my whole time, and then I have to rush the harder stuff, and then quality gets compromised there. But no, I completely agree.
I was just to add on to that. Especially so I think personally the hardest thing to just start. You know what I mean? Starting might is this the hardest thing, especially so when I try revising physics. Once you start, you just start going with the flow. You know what I mean? Once you learn something, you might as oh, okay, now I know this. Let me test my knowledge. Let me do some exam questions. And then you do some exam question and you be like, oh, I don't know this part. Let me go back and revise this part. Let me do exam questions on it again just to refine my knowledge. Just the starting, just start so you can just start that flow, you know, just fall onto it, just keep it going.
And sometimes
Definitely,
it's very difficult. I have to agree.
yeah.
Sometimes I do a question and I have no clue what's happening, and I get so pissed, and then I have to take a walk. I personally take a walk. I literally go out of my room and walk in the hallway, and it just clears my head a little bit. And it's just, I think different things work for different people. It's just like, again, both of you said, let's everybody watch it, just start. Like, you're not gonna regret starting, but you are gonna regret not starting. You get me?
Yeah. No,
Yeah, of course.
Ariel, if a student's listening and like wants to go into marketing, content, or student leadership, where do they start? Let's say A-level student, because they're not university yet, or even A-level GCSE. Let's say that because they can't come to Samsung yet because that's a little bit. You need some skills to get there. But how can they just kind of build a portfolio or build some work experience or do something that makes them stand out or just start?
that's no, yeah, great question. And I think it's not as like big as it sounds as well. Like one thing I like to say a lot is that we've got the internet on our side nowadays, and it's like really any skill you want to learn, whether that's coding or baking or cycling, anything, you'll find a tutorial on how to do it. How accurate it will be, I can't say, but there'll definitely be something on the internet teaching you how to do it. So I'd say like if you've got an interest in something, watch a few videos about it, like build your knowledge a little bit more. There's so many free courses that you can do nowadays to acquire these skills that a lot of people within the industry have or are wanting to upskill themselves by acquiring. But then at the same time, like you see, like for the role at Samsung, a lot of people might have thought like, oh, surely you need to have loads of experience and you need to have done a marketing degree and whatnot. And actually, most of the time, that's not true. Like we all know that these are like relatively junior roles, so they're not expecting you to have like achieved world peace or something like that. I remember one of the things that stood out during my interview was the fact that when I started university in year one, I joined the Latin American Society because I'm from Latin America. So I was like, I just want to like feel a bit closer to my people, do something good for the community. And I was a social secretary. And that might not sound like massive, But within that year, I had to plan like loads of events and stuff. I had to organize get-togethers for the community, talk to Latin American businesses in Sheffield to see if they would like sponsor our meals and stuff. You know, things that don't really sound as grand and prestigious. But actually, when I did my interview, I taught them about it, and they were like, "Oh my God, like these skills are skills that are really valuable. Like you've basically sold your pitch because we're getting discounts from businesses for our events. You know, like this is not easy. You're doing some sort of marketing now. You might not see that. Another example of this is in second year, my university was looking for people to help support create content for social media. Like literally, I don't know if you've seen like some unis have got like their TikTok accounts and stuff and get
Yeah.
more students to come. And they put it out, and I was like, you know what, that sounds fun. Like, I want to do it. So I did it. And I obviously I worked for my department, and we came up with ideas to bring more people to the events that we did. We asked students around campus interviews and questions, and like what they thought student life was like at Sheffield. And we had like obviously like tangible data. Like we saw like a lot more people coming to our pages. Like our Instagram account grew by at least like 1,000 followers. And this is marketing, you know, like this is fundamentally what you do at a big job, but obviously like a lot more things are considered when you're working for like a big corporation. But really, these are small things that prove that you've got that experience. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to like become the next big influencer or like content creator, but as long as you're passionate about it and like you have something to show for it, I think that's more than valid and more than, I guess, meaningful for a company that's wanting to hire someone who's passionate about what they do.
I was gonna say now, sometimes in a professional setting, what happens is you feel left out sometimes. Sometimes, especially as if you're a new person. I did an internship in the summer of my year 11, and it was for an architecture company. And it was a 3 month internship. For the first month, basically, I just sat there. I sat there, talked to a few people, got some minor tasks, some credibility. And it was like I felt so out of place. And I just want to ask, has that ever happened to you? And if so, how you dealt with it?
I think that's another great question, and it can be a little bit daunting, like joining the corporate world as a young person. Like you've literally, what, like even I've done uni, but I was like, I really don't know anything. Like I spent most of my uni days just like going to friends' flats and like hanging out and just going to the park and stuff. Like really, when you go to uni, it's not all about the academic, and it might make you feel like you're not prepared for what you're about to do. But I wouldn't necessarily say I felt left out, but more so I felt a bit like obviously everyone knew so much more than me that I was like, oh, I was scared to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. So I just didn't want to do anything. And I think one thing that's really important when you've just joined a job, and not just as a young person, just any job at any point in your life, is get to know the people who you're working with and what they're working on. That's one thing I'm really grateful about my manager, is that she scheduled in some time with all like the wider team members that we had, and whether that was like social, PR, etc., and scheduled in some time with me to get to know them, get to know the projects that they were working on, and for them to get to know what I was passionate about. So after we did this, obviously like I knew what they were working on and some of the things that I could have gotten involved with. And I think that's really important, you know, because then you've got a rough idea of what's going on in the business. People know what you like, and just I'd say never be scared of saying, "Hey, can I help you out with this? Like, what are your tasks? Like, what do you need? Is there anything I can take off your to do list?" 9 times out of 10, people will never say no to free help. Do you know what I mean?
Fair.
Like everyone's like struggling to get what they need to get done. So if you go and say like, "Hey, I'd love to get involved with this. Can I help?" I don't really know anyone who'll be like, "Nah, sorry, I don't need the help." And I think that's a great way to not only get to know the people within the business, but also build your experience portfolio and just show your skill set, really. Like you said, like maybe you felt like you didn't have anything to do. Maybe if you could go back now, um, and just chat to someone and say, "Hey, my name's Ali. Like, this is what I'm doing. I really want to learn more about this. I've noticed that you've worked on it. Is there anything I can do to help? Is there any way I can get involved?" Like, who knows? Like maybe you could have like one of them would have been like, "Yeah, like help me out with this," and that's kind of like where you go off. So
And
yeah, never be scared to reach out or like ask to learn.
one thing I've seen is the only people who, because in our mind it's like, oh, people are gonna judge me if I say the wrong thing, or like, what if this happens? But the thing is, if someone is in a field or is doing something that you're interested in, and they're above you, even if it's like marketing, content creation, and they see you try, they will never judge you, because they were in that position. They will never judge you. I realize the person who is not in that position might judge you. But a person who's already in the position where they will never judge you because you're basically a younger version of themselves. Yeah, I mean, and
Definitely. And
If
they
you
know you're young. They know you don't have experience, and that's exactly the reason why you're there, to get that experience. So if they don't want to teach you after that, really, you're like, are you really that good at what you do?
even if they say no, it's not the end of the world, and that kind of gives you a little bit also understanding. Some people, I'm not gonna say they're bad people, but I'm gonna say they're a little bit more like, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna work.
Yeah, some people like working more siloed, and that's okay.
Yeah,
But I
it's
bet you that if there's 5 people, at least 4 of them will want your
yeah.
help and will want
Majority
you
would
to.
want help.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
anybody would
not
want
everyone will
help.
say yes.
So I had that too as well. When I joined, I was like, oh, like they seem very busy. I don't want to disturb them and stuff. But actually, when you do reach out to them and say, hey, I want to help. What can I do? I'll be like, sure, here you go, do this. And even if it's like the smallest task, you're already helping them out, and that makes them more likely to give you something next time. Like, like brief you in a project, or even put you forward to lead on another one of their work streams. So really, it's all about getting yourself like known and making the most of your time.
And as well, as long as you do a good job, I think they'll call you again. I think they would want you near the
Definitely.
table, basically get your foot through the door.
Yeah, I think, and even if it's not in that industry, like I'd say not just in the UK, but like in the world, but especially in the UK, everyone changes like jobs and industries. Like people move around a lot, and you never know who might be where in the future. So like no relationship is too small. Like even if it's someone that you worked with once on a project, like you already know that person. That's already like something in common that you have and that other applicants might not have. So I'd say also like use LinkedIn. It's your tool. Like if you find someone from your uni or like from an internship that you did and you know that they're working somewhere you're aspiring to be at, reach out to them and say, hey bro, like I know that you've started to do this, like can you give me an update, like how do you do it, like what does it look like, how can I join it as well? And people are always willing to help you out. Like they will reply to you and they'll say, oh listen, maybe try this, try that, or they might tell you something that you might not have known before. So I'd say make the most out of these connections.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I mean, it's probably best to just get yourself out there to, get yourself known to those opportunities. Otherwise, I mean, rather than risking it and saying, oh, there's nothing out there, they're going to say no, they're not going to let me in. But you might as well get yourself out there, try to get the experience. Even if they do say no, the journey that it takes for you to get to that stage, to get to where you did get to, all that experience, all the skills you learned will help you to get even further than what you went to.
Yeah, the worst they can say is no, and then what? It's like,
No,
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Ariel,
exactly.
you're in the same position where you started.
yeah. Affairs, that's actually a good
But now
point.
you have more experience and you have more skills.
Yeah, like
You might,
your
yes,
situation has not changed at all. Like you have the same knowledge that you had 5 seconds ago when you asked them.
yeah. Ariel, Samsung is a very high performance, like fast paced environment because it's such a big company. Now, what's one thing university didn't prepare you for in the workplace?
I'd say the pace for sure.
So,
Like uni's very chill. I know some people say, "Oh, uni's hard and stuff," and I might not be going to like Oxford or Cambridge, but at the same time, it's like we only have like what 3 lessons a day, and that leaves what another like 12 hours of your day to do nothing. Like if you wanted to take it for partying, you can. If you want to do sports, you can. I would split my time very evenly, so I would like dedicate some time to like revision and stuff. At least 2 hours a day. I like go to the library, make sure I understood the content, etc. And I just had so much free time. I think that I don't think that's specific to Samsung. I think that's just any corporate job in the transition to like like you'd say like an adult job, I guess. I've got no free time now. Like it's just always I sit down, log on at 9 a.m. and I'm hustling, working, and then I close my laptop at 5 and that's it. The day's gone.
yeah.
So really time flies by, and I'd say like nothing really prepares you for that. You need to experience it for yourself. At first it might be a bit overwhelming, not having that control. It might feel like you've got a bit too much on your plate, and if it does, like there's always people who are willing to support you and help you to kind of like manage your workload. But you also just get used to it. Like you get used to that level of work and you get used to performing to that level. And I don't think uni can prepare you for that at all. I just think it's something you learn on the job.
Now, the thing with now, I know you did content creation for your university, like you said. Now, I do this podcast is for our school, and some other stuff I do for the school as well. Now, what's the difference? And I know there's going to be guaranteed a difference for the viewers watching. What's the difference between like something like that of just normal content creation at a small scale and Samsung? Like, how is a project looking like that at that big of a scale?
That's a good question. I just think there's a lot more like analysis and consideration. Like any big corporation that you work with, there's so many stakeholders, so many things to consider, legal stuff, like just all of these details that you wouldn't necessarily think of as an individual. But that's why, like, there's teams, like, people will tell you, oh, remember about this, remember this, remember this, and you have to take them into account. I feel like, and that might be a case of working as well for a small company. Like, you might have a bit more ownership of what you can do, a bit more like freedom, I guess. But really, I'd probably just say, yeah, like, I didn't consider as many things when I was doing content creation. I was just like, oh my God, funny idea for a video. Let me just record it and post it, and that's it. And then my boss would be like, yeah, that's funny, post it. And that was kind of it. Like, really, that was two people, that's it. Whereas now I'm like, oh, that'd be funny. But then I was like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? Yeah, but like, no, we have to watch out for this. And it's like, okay, yeah, true, true, true. So it's like all of these things that you actually learn about. And as you do it more, you'll also learn how to look out for them yourself. So you'd be like, oh yeah, like maybe this isn't the right, like we can't use this song, or like, like simple things as that. Like I used to use TikTok sounds, and I was like, okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does matter, like things
does.
like copyright and stuff like that. So it's like all of these things that you wouldn't necessarily consider. So definitely, I think that there's a lot more like bureaucracy to doing in like a corporate setting. But at the same time, it depends on the business that you're in. So like, I'm lucky to be somewhere where I'm allowed to have that creative freedom to the extent that it's possible. And yeah, I think that's really valuable to me. And if I ever were to be in a role where it's a bit more restrictive, I'd probably feel that strain.
Yeah. Now, from your experience, what makes like content resonate with an audience? Now, how can I make content that will hit the right audience, will engage them, and get them to do like call to action, basically get them to gain you followers, watch the whole thing, see what you're trying to say? How do you make your content resonate?
Well, that's a good word that you've just used now, call to action.
Mhm.
I think one's definitely one of those that you have to consider when creating a video. Like a lot of times we'll see on the internet, like just these videos talking to you, and then it finishes and you're like, all right, so what? So I always ask yourself, like, so what? What's the point you're trying to make? What do you want me to do as a consumer? Like, first of all, you have to be clear of that before you create anything. Like, what's your call to action? Is literally what it's called. Whether that's like have them hit the follow button or visit a store or purchase a product or even like tell their friends about it. What are you trying to achieve? I think once you've got a clear idea of that, then you can start building up on everything else. And really it's important to tailor and I think to speak to the emotions and interests of the people that you're trying to reach. Like if I've got certain interest and you want to get to me, you'll try to appeal to that interest. Like it only makes sense that you have to listen to them first and understand them before you try to speak to them. It sounds a bit silly, but it pretty much works the way like communication works one-on-one. Like if you're telling me like, oh, I really like bikes and I'm really passionate about like cycling and I'm going to be doing like a race in a few months. And then I go like, cool. Yeah, I was baking the other day. It's like, I've completely cut you off. Like you've got no interest in what I'm saying. Like I've completely cut off your interest point as well. And then I'll be like, do you want to buy this like baking tray? Like it's going to be so good for you.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I've never mentioned that I like baking. Like, that's not, what are you on about?
Yeah.
Whereas if I go like, that's very interesting. What is it you like the most about like cycling? And you're like, oh, I really like the speed. Like, I like feeling that like adrenaline rush. I'm like, oh, okay. He likes adrenaline. So I know that the way I need to get to you is by getting you excited, by like giving you that rush that you're talking about. So then I'm like, oh, you know what? There's this really cool experience. It makes you feel like an out of world experience, like out of your body. You climb on this thing and like, and then you're like, oh, that's cool. But then what if you had said like, oh, but I'm afraid of heights? Then I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's not the one for him. So really, it's all about understanding that principle, like understanding your audience and who you're trying to talk to and appeal to. And then once you have that understanding, once you know what you want them to do, that's when you start creating something that's going to be valuable for them as a consumer or a viewer.
Now, the hard thing I find is I have my personal brand on Instagram, right? And I post every single day. And today is day 18 of posting every single day. And one thing I've realized in these 18 days is some videos I try zero. I pull a camera there, quickly record it because I just want to take a nap. And they do incredibly well. And some videos I edited it for a few hours, took my time with it, you get what I mean? Slept late because I was editing it, and they flop completely. And people say get the attention in the first 3 seconds, especially on Instagram, right? Or else they'll scroll away, which is fair. But then when you tailor it to capture their interest in 3 seconds, the video does bad. And when you just make a video, it somehow does good. And it's tricky. I think like posting stuff, like the reason I'm doing it every single day is it first of all forces my hand to post and just getting stuff out there, not overthinking about perfection, but just seeing what works and what doesn't work. And after that, you just need a sample size big enough to make a justified conclusion. Okay, this is what works well, people resonate with it. Let me kind of explore more branches of that specific idea.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's a really good point. You never know what's going to go viral. And I mean, I respect people who create organic content because it works very different to anything you do at a job. Like when you're doing a job, if it's like a relatively big corporation, like there's a lot of like marketing that goes behind it. Like, you know, whereas when you're posting something organically and waiting for it to like blow up, like you're saying, it 100% is kind of depending on the algorithm. And that's something that is really hard to understand, like what's going to perform. I mean, there's people who dedicate their whole careers to understanding the algorithm. So really like I wouldn't say there's one trick that will fit everything, like not one solution. I myself, like sometimes I post TikToks and I'm like, oh, like, oh, I worked so hard. And it's like, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go viral. Like people don't really
Yeah.
see the effort that you put behind something. But like you said, first of all, I think it's mainly luck. Like it depends. Like some videos are very silly and they'll go viral just because the algorithm picked it up and started like pushing it. So I think first of all, it's luck. But then if you do have one of your videos go viral or like be very like big and blow up and then you get loads of followers from it, I definitely follow your advice that you just said. As in, if it got big and you got an audience from that, you know what that audience likes. So like for example, say I posted a video about like life in the corporate world and it went viral and I got 2,000 followers out of it. If I then post a video being like, oh my God, come cycle with me, they'll be like, what?
You're probably
Like,
gonna lose
it's not my
followers.
interest.
Yeah,
Like, I
what's
didn't
going
follow you
on?
for this. Yeah. But if I post another going like how to land a job in corporate or like what works well in corporate relationships, then people are going to be like, oh yeah, I followed this dude because he posted this about corporate. Yeah, I remember I liked that. Okay, this is another content that is related to what I liked. So I'm going to interact with it as well. And that's kind of how influencers build their audience. I don't know if you've ever seen sometimes influencers try to do like a rebrand. And they try to change the content they used to do. Like sometimes it's funny. And then they want it to become, I don't know, like travel influencers. And they start losing the audience because they gained followers of something that was a specific interest point, and you've changed it now. Of course, they can survive and like diversify their portfolio, but really, that was your initial audience. So, like you said, stick to that if you want to.
Yeah. But I think the hardest thing currently for me is because I post a lot of different range of stuff and I'm not niching down. I should niche down and just focus on one specific section and then have a specific tailored audience and then which is gonna help me grow more. But it's just like I do this and I love it. I do this and I love it. And I do this and I love it. And I can't choose one. So I can't just post everything like the podcast, my organization, school stuff, just random stuff. But that's I think one of the like cons of the organic growth and the algorithm. It's just not gonna push you as much because you're not niching down to one thing. If a person's good at this, you stay good at that. Don't you move and then it'll kind of push you to the algorithm.
Yeah, but like the thing is, say you found that niche thing that you're really good at. It's really hard because imagine the social trend changes. Is that thing is no longer it's not trending anymore. So you need to be able to adapt to the change that's going on. You know what I mean on the app on social media. Otherwise, you're just gonna get left behind.
Certainly, yeah. Ariel, now in like a scale of Samsung, do you have like a ideal consumer? Like, do you have like a specific information about what they wants, what they need, struggles, stuff like that? Because that happens a lot when you're making content because you want a specific type of person to watch it, and if you can tailor it to one person, there's hundreds and thousands of them like that. Because you're not gonna have each ad specifically or each piece of content you make targeting only one person. It might be different people, but does that happen at that scale?
I guess I'd say like in the industry, depending on the product that you want to target, you like market it to that specific segment. As in, I know that like, obviously there's like quite broad pools of customers and like products are meant to be for everyone, like say a phone is. Um, but really like there's a few things to consider, like how expensive is it? Like, if you've got like a £3,000, I don't know, like fridge and you want people to buy it, you won't necessarily market it to like teenagers because obviously they won't be buying it anytime soon. So it's a lot to do with like understanding those consumers. And then once you know who's likely to buy your product, then you market it for them. It kind of like links back to what I was saying in terms of it's not about converting people to buy a product. It's more about finding the people who are already likely to buy your product, and then showing to them how that product fits well within their lifestyle rather than forcing it upon them.
Now we're gonna do some quick fire round. That's basically what I call it.
Fire round.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just ask you some like chill questions. Even quick, you can give one line answer or you can give a paragraph, your choice. One app you can't live without.
Maps.
Maps fares.
It's fair.
Most underrated skill.
That's a good question. I can learn languages relatively easy.
Is it?
Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard whoever like learns a language, I always hear it's really difficult. Like
Yeah,
I did GC
I find it quite easy.
yeah.
Yeah, I did GC Spanish, man. Never again.
Oh, what language specifically? Like how many languages do you know?
I speak, well, fluently English, Spanish, and mostly French.
Okay.
I understand most Portuguese, and I can read Greek, which is a niche.
Quite a lot of languages. What?
That's a good range of languages. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
One
Unless
wo-
it's matcha. If it's matcha, then tea.
I've never had matcha. I don't know.
It's so good.
But I've heard from some people that it just tastes like leaves in a cup.
If you have a bad one, then yeah.
But what is like how can you know it's a good one? Like we're gonna find a
Taste
good
it.
one.
If it doesn't taste like grass, then you know it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
One word your friends would use to describe you.
Energetic.
A book or podcast that changed your perspective.
Ooh. It's called like Financial Habits for Young People. It's really interesting because
Is that a book or a podcast?
yeah. It's, well, actually, I'm pretty sure they've made it into a podcast, but it's a book, and it teaches you about basically like how to do money as an adult. Because that's something I really struggled with, like coming up. Like literally, I was like, well, now I've got money of my own. What do I do?
And you
And
know
I think it's very valuable.
that's another thing school doesn't teach you. I'm probably gonna make
Yeah.
a podcast just on finance.
You
Like
should, yeah.
I
Find
know
someone who's like
nothing about finance. I don't know
mindset.
Yeah,
what
I
I'm gonna
mean-
do when I get money.
No,
we do have
neither.
like PSHE and stuff, but it's like it's not very informative. It's only
It's
like
not.
30 minutes. It's only 30 minutes of one day of the week, and it's mostly just about some random topics that nobody cares about.
I would recommend it. Like, definitely get financially literate. Do it.
Now, conspiracy theory. Do you think they don't teach us finance for specific reasons? So we
Maybe they do. Maybe they don't want
bad
us to
financial
come up with
choices?
money. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe they don't want us to own places. But like, actually, like, find a book or a podcast and read it. It's super important. It taught me a lot, and even it makes you think about retirement, which is not something you might think about when you're this young. But it's definitely, you know, like people who've got the money, they start thinking about it young. That's how they've got it.
Yeah, this is the one I've read.
I've heard of that one as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. It was I haven't completed it, but it was given to me by my friend. And
Yeah, books are so hard to read.
yeah,
It takes so long.
Like all of these black books. Well, I don't think you can you see these.
Some of
yeah.
them.
But all of these black books, they're math and science books. Those are difficult. Those take day. I started a series on my Instagram, reading a book a day, and that was
A
draining.
day.
A day.
Yeah.
It was like
book a day.
that
Yeah.
was raining. It lasted for I think like 10, 12 days. So I read 10, 12 books every like
Jesus.
yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
3, 4 hours just sitting there reading. Some books I found they were incredible. Some books horrible, wasted my time so much. But that happens, I guess. You know,
It does. It does.
especially in
It's
literature.
to find a good book.
Yeah. Dream company you'd like to work with one day.
Samsung. Well, I would love also to explore some, maybe not as like consumer based, maybe something different, maybe like work for a non-profit. I think that'd be really, really special to me, knowing that I'm making like a big difference in the world and helping others. So I'd love to explore that field.
One thing you do every day without fail.
Brush my teeth. Yeah, jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that should be one for
Me
everybody.
too.
I do like to visualize my day a lot, and like I said, sometimes
Mm.
it's not easy to plan everything ahead because things change, and that's normal. But I do like to have a rough idea of what I'm going to do before I wake up, like the next morning. A lot of people do journaling. I don't particularly. I don't have the patience for it, so I'm not going to preach having like journaling and stuff when I don't do it myself. Yeah, definitely having like a rough idea, like just sit down and be like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna do this and this and that, or even like something that you want to do, you know, something that's gonna make you feel happy, or something that's gonna make you feel, you know, like mental health and all that. Like look after it. So, yeah, plan your day ahead, even if it doesn't turn out to go according to plan. At least you had a rough idea what you wanted to do. Just don't think that it has to go that way. It's
Certainly.
just an idea.
Now, do you visualize your day? Because I visualize it normally in the morning when I wake up for prayer. But do you visualize? Are there
before.
some people who do it the night?
I do it before. I like having that like reassurance that I know before I go to bed. I'm like, right, this and this and that. Okay, that's fine. I'll
I
just
I used to do it at night, but the reason I don't do it at night is because I'm just tired most of the times at night. I sleep a little bit more later, and I like to do it in the morning is because no one's awake. Like,
True.
yeah, outside silence. Like I go for runs sometimes in the morning, no one. It's like I'm
Yeah.
in a ghost town.
I would say though, and I read a study about this, I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly the name,
Mhm.
but you're more likely to remember things just before you go to bed.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but
I've heard of
basically,
that.
like, I'm
I
very
think I have, yeah.
forgetful. Like, I forget things all the time. So I find that by saying it or thinking about it just before I go to bed, and then I sleep on it, the next morning it's kind of ingrained in my brain. It's great.
Yeah, that does happen. That does happen. Yeah. What's the next question? Yeah, Excel or PowerPoint?
Such a good one, because see, as a marketing person, I should say PowerPoint, but Excel.
Excel. Well, what do you use Excel for in marketing?
My own life. Well, in Excel, you do like for marketing, like you have to do budgeting and stuff. You still have
Oh,
to
okay,
you have to
fair.
track KPI data, like you have to track results and stuff. Like all of these things. There's a lot of reporting that people don't think, but it is. You'll have reporting in every job. But actually, I use it a lot in my personal life. It's a bit embarrassing to admit, but like I used to plan my holidays on Excel.
I don't think that's embarrassing. I
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
use Excel for like studies, like
Yeah,
subject grades, predicted.
yeah. Like it's good to have that.
I'll be completely honest. I prefer Excel as well. I think PowerPoint's a little iffy. You can use Canva. Canva makes better PowerPoints.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Canva
I think
looks more
Canva's better.
professional.
But I think Excel is just so driven into like, especially well, school does teach you sometimes Excel. This
Yeah.
to
Even
use.
like budgeting, like you can do budget on Excel. It's fine.
If you had an unlimited budget to start a project, what would it be? Unlimited.
God, I feel like I'm being put to test. I would love to start a travel agency. I
Mhm.
am very passionate about traveling, and I think I'd love to use AI for it as well. I feel like it's not being done enough, you know?
Mhm.
So like telling the AI what you like, and then it's not the AI that's going to tell you where to go. Like that's not the point. The point is that you use this data and you use the knowledge there is out there in the internet to feedback to a human. And then that human adds that human touch to it and says, right, this is your personalized
Mhm.
travel itinerary. And I'm really passionate about traveling, but not just myself, but also like having people go on like nice trips. Like people often come to me for recommendations of where to go, what to see. And I love giving it to them and they go and I'm like, I love that you went and you saw
Yeah.
it and they enjoyed it. And it's something I really like. But then also this one might be a controversial one, but I hate the Spotify AI. I think it's so useless. It's so useless. Like I think the music streaming industry definitely needs to make the most out of AI because sometimes I'm just thinking like, man, I'm in this mood. I wish I could find songs that would keep me in this mood. And there's nothing you can currently say like, "Oh, find me a playlist, you know? So I think that's maybe one to come. I love to maybe like start my own streaming platform and have that.
Could be not for the travel agency one. Why don't you start?
That's a good question. I think it's just lack of time, but again, that might be an excuse. I think
Would you
it
do that
might
in
be
the future?
something I pursued during my last year of uni. Like starting
Would
that little like
last year of uni not be very hectic?
but I think that's what I mean by academic. Like you really don't have like it doesn't take much time. Even if you dedicate loads
Or
of
you're very smart. It could be that.
no,
Yeah, I think
realistically,
he's very
like
smart.
you could dedicate to it like 6 hours a day, and you still have the other 6 hours to do
Okay,
nothing.
yes. Yeah, I agree.
Whereas at work, you have to dedicate your like I wake up at 6, get ready for work, go to work, come back home at 6, make dinner, go to sleep. Like you know, like really, it's your whole 12-hour day, like
Yeah.
dedicated to work. Whereas uni is so chill. Like guys, if you choose to go to uni or like if you do something similar, make the most out of that time because you'll never be as free as you will be at uni. Like even now, I think you might be less free now than you will be at uni.
Crazy.
I
Like I
mean,
was
we are
talking,
going to year 13.
yeah, even in a different podcast we were discussing and the he's in university at Imperial studying aerospace engineering and he was like, university's chill.
Yeah,
like,
it is so
A-level just
chill
was
compared to
difficult.
school. Yes.
He's like, A-level was so heavy. You had so many lessons, so much work to do, UCAS, so much stuff.
Yeah,
He's
I've
like,
heard that as
university,
well.
I have a whole day. I just don't go because I don't have lessons that day.
Yeah.
So I have 1 lesson that day, 3 lessons there, and I just relax for the rest of the time.
Exactly. I'd say definitely the content that you see at uni is a lot heavier, and it takes time to like understand it. Like it's not the thing that you're just gonna read it and you're gonna be like, yeah, I've got that 100%. Like you have to read it and reread it and practice it and do research and stuff just so that you understand the content fully.
Mhm.
But time wise, it doesn't take that long.
Fair enough. I agree. I agree. If you could instantly master one skill, what would it be?
I don't know, maybe maths. I wish I was better at maths. Yeah, I'm not the best at maths myself.
That could be crazy though. Just instantly the best at math.
Imagine being the best at maths. Yeah.
I think best at anything. You're gonna get anything.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Best at any sport. Best at even. Okay, this might be a weird word. Best at reading books. I don't know what you could do with that.
Yeah, that's
Finish,
only
yeah,
for
all
you.
that knowledge, I guess. It depends on whether you can keep it or not.
Yeah, fair. What's something students think matters but really doesn't?
Your A-level subjects. This might be a
Doesn't it?
controversial take. I don't think so.
Seriously.
I don't think so. I know that like to get into certain degrees at uni, like you need certain A levels, and I get that. But like I genuinely don't think they matter that much.
That is controversial. That's
Yeah, I
actually
think so. I
Yeah,
think
that's
so.
like
I don't think any job will ever say like, "Oh, you need to have done this." Of course, if you want to go into like medicine, I can make an exception there because I'm like, you kind of need to know it, like, or even no, but even like engineering. I know people who've done maths and that's it, and then they did like maths and English and theater, and then they go to uni and they do an engineering degree, and it's like, yeah, they'll teach you. They'll teach you anyways, like it's not, and then they'll have an engineering degree and they'll go into finance or they'll go into marketing.
that happens a lot. Engineering students go
Yeah,
to finance. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, see, what did it matter doing chemistry and physics at A level if you ended up doing like balance sheets?
it makes very much sense because me and Ali, like now if we think back to it, GCSEs they don't seem that important anymore. But back that time when we were going through that process, they felt like the most important thing in the world.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I think once you finish it and you get to the next stage and you look down, it feels very insignificant.
If you ask someone at my job right now, what did you do for your A levels? They'd probably laugh. They'd be like, "What? Like, what do you mean?"
Fair enough, man.
Even at uni, you don't talk about what you did at uni. Like, you talk about your experience. That's it.
I think this might be a little controversial as well. I think if a person is okay, this might not even be controversial. If a person has more experience and less education, I think they might actually be more valuable. Like I
Sometimes it
sometimes say
works like that.
you don't necessarily need a qualification to do so. As long as you have experience to back it up, even if it's small, like you learn so much stuff unconsciously by just doing something.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say like in the corporate world, the question that goes out the most is what's your background? And that's not asking you what uni did you go to, what A levels did you do, what degree did you do. It just means what have you worked on? As in what's your background? Whether that's marketing, PR, finance, or supply chain, there's so many things. So yeah, it's all about the experience that you've had. Like most of my colleagues haven't done a degree in the same as I did. So
Best advice you've ever received.
don't worry too much. I feel like everything I've said so far makes me sound like I'm always thinking about the next step and like always planning the day ahead. And I think sometimes, yeah, I can get a bit caught up in that. And I'm like, oh my God, I get stressed out so much. So it's like, don't think about it too much. I think that going with the flow is also quite important and having a day off as well. Like, like today, I booked a day off. I booked a day off of work. I was like, you know what? I need a reset day. I've got loads of laundry to do. I want to do a shop when it's not like packed from everyone who's just come out of work like me. I'll book the day off. And I've done it, and it's not the end of the world. So yeah, don't think too much about it. Don't worry too much. As in, of course, it's always good to have your plan. Like I said, I'm very structured. It's always good to have a plan A, plan B, plan C, just so that if something doesn't work out, you always have options. But it doesn't have to be something that you're always worrying about. Like there's always going to be uncertainty to some extent. So you really need to learn how to enjoy the today and the now.
That's what. Now going to the other like spectrum. Worst advice you've ever ignored and are glad you did.
Okay, God, this one's gonna be an interesting one.
Even I don't know what I would
You
say.
know what? I can say this because I think my mum often used to tell me a lot growing up that she also always said like the elderly are always right, and that's so not true. Like that is so not true. And I grew up believing it. She's like, you can never contradict someone who's older than you. The elderly always are right. That's not true. And I think working somewhere like Samsung has taught me that actually, yeah, like it's not the way it is, and people won't hate you for saying you don't agree with them or for saying something different, even if they're much more senior. Of course, there's ways to say it, but they actually appreciate when you like contradict what they say, and you're like, actually, like, I think this might be the other way around, and it's another solution that you've proposed, and it might be something they were perhaps not looking at. So yeah, like speak up. You're there for a reason. Speak up. Like if you don't agree with something, say it. Even if you're wrong, then you're wrong, and that's it. You've learned.
And it's not a big
Someone will
deal.
tell you, oh, actually, it's this one. You're like, oh, okay, fair enough. Thanks for letting me know. So yeah, I'd say that was probably the worst one, because if I had followed it, I just probably wouldn't progress. I just assume that whatever I get told is the definite truth, and that's it. And it's definitely not the case.
I
Like
agree.
your opinions are just as valid.
Now, a place in the world you'd move to right now if given the chance.
See, I quite like where I live. I think London's a great place. I would definitely.
Some people hate London.
I
Some
know.
people
I
hate
feel.
London.
I know it's quite controversial. Like the other day, I was in the tube, and someone was weeing on the tube.
What?
Just
Whoa.
there in the carriage. Yeah, yeah. And I remember thinking, and I called my mom, and I was like, "Yeah, like this happened." And she was like, "Why do you like that city so much? It's so gross. Like every time I go, it's like I don't have a good time." And I'm like, "I just like it. I don't know. Like it's just me." So I really like where I live. But if I had to choose another place, I maybe say it's really hard because maybe Amsterdam. I think Amsterdam would be a really cool one for a
Yeah,
couple of
but
years.
Amsterdam's quite a nice location.
Yeah,
Infrastructure. Yeah.
it's very big on like games development and stuff like that. Like
Is it?
it's
I don't know.
yeah, like AI, science.
What's one thing people misunderstand about marketing?
I think I've already said this, and it's the principle that we're just trying to get more people to buy stuff, and that's it. Sometimes they mistake it for like this like massive like consumerism, like oh you want it's like to end the planet and have people like buy things until like capitalism has been finished and stuff. And I'm like, no, that's not the point of marketing. We're not trying to like if you are an 80-year-old woman who I don't know like can't walk and stuff, I'm not gonna try and sell you like a premium car. Makes no sense. It's more about finding those people who would already buy a premium car and showing them how that premium car is going to make their lives better. You know, isn't that? It's like you already wanted it. Now we're just convincing you that you do. You know, we're just showing you how you should get this premium car instead of that premium car. Like you're not forcing anyone to buy stuff. Like that's the opposite of marketing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think.
That's bad marketing. That's not ethical.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that marketing is just like manipulation. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
no, not at
you're
all.
showing me stuff.
Manipulation.
You're gonna buy everything. That might be on
Yeah.
you. Stop buying everything.
Buy this
Yeah,
now.
no, literally. Like, we don't want you to like if you're not into if you're not looking to buy a phone at all, you hate phones. Well, we don't want you to.
Don't buy a phone. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want to buy a phone and you want to buy the best phone because you're looking for AI features and you're looking for something that's gonna help you grow as a photographer and you want the best camera, that's where we step in.
Mhm.
Not to convince you to buy a phone. That's not none of our business.
Now, Ariel, last two questions. I want you to really think about these two, okay? If your life were a movie, what would the title be? That's the first question. I'll tell you the second after you think about that one.
I'll
If your
be a
life was
genius.
a movie, what
Life
would
is
the
a
title
movie.
be?
Good question. Oh my god, this is hard. I feel like I'm on like speed dating or something. God, I don't know. Maybe accidentally in London.
What?
Accidentally in London.
Accidentally in London.
I didn't plan to end up here. It just kind of happened.
What?
Like life's just played out.
Were you accidentally in London? I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
I ended up here. I
Watch it.
kind of accidentally. Life just
I
brought
was-
me here.
Now the final question, the moment of truth. Ariel, Samsung or Apple?
You already know what I'm gonna answer to that question.
Just trying to catch you out here, because I personally, Camber, what phone do you have?
I don't have a phone, man.
You don't have a
Oh,
phone?
I mean, after seeing those new phones, the new flips, I'm like, ooh, that's looking very nice.
Yeah, the Galaxy Z Flip 7?
Z Flip, yeah.
7, yeah.
Yeah, how's
You don't have
that?
to say the full government name.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to have you here today. It was a wonderful time having a discussion with you. I
Thank you,
hope,
guys.
you
Thank
know,
you for
on a
having me.
more specific, more depth in talk. Hopefully, we bring you in the future, especially if more people want marketing. We know who to get. Ariel. Ariel, this wonderful time. This was Beyond the Books. I was your host, Mohammed Ali Kamar, and thank you for watching.
Lovely. Thanks, guys. That was so fun.